Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Good afternoon and welcome to Fade to Black Cinema. I'm Michael, your Bougie Black Brother, and I'm here with my wife and co-worker, Alicia.
Hello.
So, we got back from seeing another continuous series of the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Captain Marvel and the first female solo project by the Marvel team. And actually, I was looking forward to it. I was excited by it. I really thought that maybe this will be something to jump off that I can say, wow, this is something I can follow and start reading the comics again and go from there. But we went and saw it. So let me real quick, baby. Let me go with the synopsis. Right?
Okay.
For Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel is an extraterrestrial Kree warrior who finds herself caught in the middle of a intergalactic battle between her people, which is the Kree, and the Skrulls. Living on Earth in 1995, she keeps having reoccurring memories of another life as a U.S. Air Force pilot, Carol Danvers. With help from Nick Fury, Captain Marvel tries to uncover the secrets of her past while harnessing her special superpowers to end the war with the evil Skrulls. So, we've been watching a couple of the trailers, baby. So, what was your anticipation or your thoughts prior to seeing it?
I thought it was, I just, it's just a Marvel superhero, Marvel, and I thought it was going to be good from the previews.
So, in the previews, you saw it. So did you kind of tie it into like a Wonder Woman, or you was still thinking about Marvel?
No, I didn't tie it into Wonder Woman. No.
Let me explain it better before you answer that. Would you think that the type of excitement like a Wonder Woman movie it would be, or did you think of it as one of the regular Marvel movies just with a lead actress?
Regular Marvel movie.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't
That's
even.
fair.
Yeah, I didn't even consider it compared it to Wonder Woman. Even
Okay.
before I didn't see it like that until you just mentioned it.
So that's good. That's good because most people thought how great Wonder Woman was. They was looking for another empowering female warrior showing up and going from that. So that was a little of the anticipation that some people were looking at it. And you said when you saw the previews, you was kind of like, cool, another great Marvel movie I really, really, really want to see.
Yeah, because I didn't know what she did.
Right.
Okay, so it was watching it and saying, "Wow, she was a damn pilot." You know what I'm saying? And that was exciting because they didn't make her look like any average woman. She had a career.
Right.
But the only thing that they said that she couldn't do was they wouldn't let her go into combat.
Yeah, so they didn't let her do combat runs or whatever like that.
Correct.
And even when they started off when she was a Kree warrior, they was trying to hold her back. Did you notice that?
Yes, they were.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, because she was like, I can do this.
And they was like,
he
hold on.
He was like, hold on. You need to stay in control and, hold back your powers. I was like, oh, really? I was like, she got attitude, know?
So that was Jude Law. So Jude Law had a character that was, I guess, a mentor to her and the Great Machine or whatever it is. That actually spoke to her. They all had a somewhat of a plan for her. So what was interesting was it started off that she was a Kree warrior. That's all you knew. That was it. It was all about that. It wasn't anything about Earth. It wasn't anything about the universe other than her being a Kree warrior battling against the Skrulls. The Skrulls look like almost like lizard people or gargoyles. They look like gargoyles.
Right.
But they were shapeshifters, which is like really freaking cool. And the reason why it was cool to me because they got a whole series of Secret Wars with the comic books where the Kree came to Earth and started disguising himself as Marvel characters. So you may have seen Spider-Man, but Spider-Man really wasn't Spider-Man. It was a Kree warrior. Or Captain America, and it really wasn't Captain America. It was one of the Kree, disguising himself as one of the actual superheroes or the Avengers or whatever.
Right.
So there's a whole series on that. So as this is being made and we're going into phase 4, there's these stories that they're bringing in people like the Kree and the Skrulls that was able to change. So what they didn't show was the Super Skrulls. Super Skrulls had superpowers that can change to other people. So that's coming too. So all of the storyline was really, really interesting that they was building up. But if you didn't know, it went backwards. So it was 1995 before they realized that there were super people around. Remember that?
Right.
So it went backwards where she was there when this started to happen, which made it a lot more interesting. So you started seeing this, and were you able to follow through the storyline, babe?
Oh, of course. It wasn't that hard. It was, because they wanted you to understand. They really did wanted you to understand the storyline and who she was and how she got to where she was. I love how her and what's his name?
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, I love their relationship.
Yeah, so that was cool.
I love their relationship.
Their relationship was almost a partnership. Even though she had all the powers, he was like a sidekick to her.
Yeah, exactly.
But they had a great relationship. I loved how she was kind of cocky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she was.
She was really kind of cocky, kind of rebellious, and like a smart aleck girl with a shitload of power. So that made it really, really cool, in my opinion. But that play between the two was I thought was really, really good as well.
Yeah. Because, it kind of, when you saw the relationship, then you understood when you was watching the Avengers, what was it? The last Avengers.
Infinity Wars.
Yeah, the Infinity Wars. And when he was at the end, you see him with his damn pager. And he was like, what the hell is that? And he was like...
And why would he still have a pager?
Exactly. And then, who was he calling? And then you was like, that's Captain Marvel. I was like,
yeah, that's fine. But that means she's on Earth. So that means she knows what's going on.
No, she was not. And so that's the thing.
No, hold on. Don't get to that part yet.
Okay. So they, we was wondering what the page was. And he just insinuated. And then it was like when you came to this one, then you understood.
Right.
When you saw Captain Marvel, then you understood, why I was there. It went back and, and she explained, hey, I fixed this for you, so, if you need to contact me,
just contact me.
Yeah, exactly.
So she made his pager like an intergalactic pager.
Exactly.
So it didn't just stay on Earth. It was able to go cross universes just to contact her. Not, messages or whatever like that. When it went off for her, it showed that it needed her. Mm-hmm. So she had to come back to Earth because it was calling him. So she made it because she saw that. She was like, what? You got a what? He was like, oh, yeah, this is pager and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, whatever. And so she, on her own, fixed it so he can be able to do it. So the thing is, this was another movie. So let me just go straight into this. There's a lot of people that didn't like it. And... because it Marvel people, because it wasn't, they wanted it to tie into Infinity Wars, but it couldn't because it's 1995. That was one. Second, they wanted it to be how it ties into some of the other superheroes, but it was before any other superheroes, so it really couldn't do that. And they just thought that the way they built up for her was a little slower than most of the other ones. But the problem is, this was an origin story just like Captain America was. Before shit was going on, this is what it looks like, what it was in outer space that actually came to Earth. Mm-hmm. Where Captain America was, how does a person with power fit into the society right now?
Right.
So it was those origin stories like that made it a little different, where again, an Iron Man, he created that because he was a genius. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not Captain. Doctor Strange was taught the mystic arts, so he had to go through a process to learn the arts. But there was already people who done that. So all these origin stories, people didn't really look at it in that aspect. And in all honesty, I had to slow down and say, "Yeah, man, this wasn't that as good as I thought it was." But then in retrospect, if you compare it to the other ones, this was again an origin story. And the fact that it was going back and forth, it went to current to even before she became Captain Marvel and went to the Kree place. It was going back and forth and she had to identify who she was.
Right, she did.
So when it came to the Kree and the Skrulls, what did you pick up from those? Did you pick up anything from that relationship as it relates to a lot of the current things in the Marvel universe, like the Avengers and the Galaxy of the Guardians of the Galaxy?
The Kree, you could see that it tied into some of the stuff that was going on in the Avenger movie, right? And there was some other movies too that it could tied into.
So it tied into. Remember, the Tesseract was there, so it tied into how the Tesseract got to Earth. The Ronin who worked for Thanos, he was there, but he was one of the Kree warriors, which he happens to be blue. So if you notice, there was some blue Kree and there was like white Kree, like white people Kree, and then there was blue people Kree. And what's his name? Jude Law or Jan Rog, and even Annette Bening as the Kree scientist. They were white Kree. So what you find out is they were mixing races and so on and so forth.
But see, then I kind of like going back to what you were saying. I can understand, like you said, why they didn't like Captain Marvel, because it was, you said, what you said, it went back with Captain America, when the first Captain America. Mm-hmm. And so with that ties into both of them starting out. So you finding out the history of them.
Yep.
And that's why I can understand why they didn't like it, because they wanted it to be current.
They wanted it to tie into Infinity Wars.
Right now.
Which
it couldn't. Right. Because they really needed to explain. They just couldn't bring her in just like that. Because then the question is, well, who the hell is she? Because,
where did she get all this goddamn power from?
Exactly, because people didn't know. People have to know who she is. And the comic people totally understand. You've been reading it for years and years and years and years, and you'll know it. But there's people out there who don't read comic books.
Right.
And so they had to get it started somewhere. And people had to understand who the character was.
Right.
Because I have like the how would you say, the chart on what order you need to watch the Marvel series. Mm-hmm. So and after looking at the chart, I totally understand. Why what you said.
So I would love to know, and thinking about this, her life probably fit in between Iron Man and Captain America.
Exactly, you're right.
So it would slide right into that, and then after Captain America, remember they was messing with it. I think it was Thor with the Tesseract was on Earth, and he had to come back to Earth in that way.
Well, they got it where Iron Man, after Captain America, Captain Marvel, Iron Man 2, then Thor.
Oh, okay.
Then it's the Hulk.
Interesting. Yeah, and the Hulk was, you had to put the Hulk in, but it wasn't like a really relevant.
Right.
But it was in the timeline. So the timeline was important that the Hulk movie was in between.
So that's why I was like, okay, so now I'm understanding how we need to watch the series. It's like, okay, so I'm going to have to start searching for it and start watching it until it comes to the Infinity Wars.
Yeah, so that's in April. So again, we got a couple of weeks before that kicks in. So a portion of it, you got to watch the Guardians of the Galaxy, because remember, Jim and Hunsu,
yeah, you have to watch it back to
was
back.
there, and then he got beat up, but then he came back, and then you had Ronin who got blew up by the Tesseract. I mean, not the Tesseract, one of the jewels. Then you have some of the Kree that was involved in different things. So you got so many things that referenced in Captain Marvel that right before Endgame starts, there's a lot of important information that you got to know before it comes in, because she has to come back, and then you're going to have to find out where the hell she's been and what she's been doing. And she had to know that people were dying because wherever she was, half of the population was being killed.
Exactly.
So she had to say, I didn't know what was going on. So that was some information that she has to have. And then there's a lot of other characters that's going to reappear on here on Endgame, which brings it together. But again, we go back to the storyline. People wanted it so current that they disregarded the fact that this was an origin story as opposed to a continuation story from Infinity Wars. So that's not really what it was. But overall, good characters, good old characters that came up, and good new characters. I think she has I like Brie Larson. I didn't think I would like her as Captain Marvel, but she has a great spunky, rebellious side, and her awesome power that she showed as she grew was like pretty amazing as well. And it ties in that I enjoyed a lot is the Kree civilization and the Skrull civilization, which they didn't explain in a lot of the other movies. They just talked about it, but now you see that the Kree is a bunch of assholes. They're a bunch of elitists. And now you know they can do good things, but they're a bunch of elitist bastards. And she was tying into that, and they was trying to enslave the Skrulls, and the Skrulls were bad because they don't want to be controlled in that way. So that was that. So great little storylines in between there. Even Phil Coulson was there.
And I love the how she had the black girl, her best friend, and her daughter. That was really, really also really nice because it just flowed so nicely. Just the relationship, and it was funny.
Yeah, yeah, it was humorous parts.
Yes, it was, and just how not the good things like she didn't remember anything because they had taken her. He had taken her to the other planet, But it was just really nice how it was done. I really liked it.
So if you look at the characters that was on there, and you look at the cast, you see two things that happened. There was a female director and a co-director, and then you had I think she helped write it as well. The good thing what they did was, and it wasn't like she needed help to direct the movie, but she probably needed help to understand that part of the way Marvel movies are made, it's made a certain way. So they just can't let you just do what you want to do. You have to say, bring what you bring, but it has to have these certain aspects of the Marvel universe. If not, people won't see it as a Marvel movie.
Right.
So the one thing that the executive producer, he does is he touches every movie and say, you have to have some of these aspects. So people will say, yes, this is a Marvel movie. Yes, these are Marvel characters. Yes, they're part of a universe and they acting natural within those Marvel universes, which I really love how they do that, because everyone, and even when you was looking at them all over again, they all went together. They in some way or form, they all went together. There was not a standalone Marvel movie that was in this whole series. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I enjoy, how they produce the Marvel Cinematic Universe for this end. It's just will be interesting when Disney brings in the Fox stuff and see how they're going to do that. If they're going to recreate some characters, or will they use the old characters, like the X-Men characters. They got to do Fantastic Four. Spider-Man is still Sony, but they're licensing him to actually go back and forth with that. So you still got certain universes that they don't have their hands on. But now that they got the mutant universe, we wonder how this is going to play in.
Yeah, how that's going to play in. Yes, that's going to be interesting.
So with that said, what do you rate it?
I give it a 7.
Wow, that's bad.
No, it's not bad.
So I give it an 8 because I'm going to see it again. Anything that's 8 and above is something that I will continue to watch. I can watch it now, and this is one of the movies that I continue to watch because it ties into some older movies that I see. So I want to see the older movies, then I'm going to see this again. And then when I see a newer movie, I can go back and reference this movie again. So this becomes a really good reference movie as well. Like Thor, you only see that because you have to, but this one I kind of enjoyed it because it had so many great storylines in there. So that's why I got it as an even 8. But I didn't think it was as bad as people portrayed it to be. People went and it did well in the theaters though.
It did.
It really did. Mm-hmm. But I think the critics
it didn't get a high score amongst the people going to the theater, but it did not get a bad one.
No, it did what it supposed to had, but it didn't overdo like some people expected it to be. They're gonna say, "Uh-oh, it's a female Marvel, so this one should be just like Black Panther." Nah, bruh. Nah, it's not gonna be a Black Panther. Black Panther had a better whole created universe. It had black people. And it had a great storyline, and it was amazing acting in there, and the cinematic and photography and all of that, makeup, everything, wardrobe, set design. That's why they won, because it was amazing.
Yeah.
So the whole movie was amazing. This movie wasn't amazing. It was a good movie. But I think people wanted the expectation for it to be amazing because this is compared to Wonder Woman. This is the equivalent of Wonder Woman, so it should be a blockbuster. No, it did really well. Not sure what else you want from it.
Yeah, I know.
So
I think that the next one will be even better because it's just the first one. I thought it could, there was little things like you said. Why the cat scratched the man's eye?
Yeah, so why did he? So Fury gets scratched. We now know why he wears the patch. And it's not a real cat, it's an alien. But even as an alien cat or creature, Nick Fury was being nice to that damn cat.
Yeah, he sure was.
And he really enjoyed the cat. I don't think he did anything wrong with the cat, but the fucking cat scratched him. But the cat didn't have to scratch him. The cat could have ate him. You know what I mean? Because the creature was eating people and all types of stuff. But for some reason, the cat just scratched him. And now he has to wear a patch over his goddamn eye. But it is what it is. That was a strange thing, though.
Yeah.
But even at the ending, they had some good points. And she flew off, except for giving details of the movie. It's a nice chronological sequence of events that gets you to follow it and find out that she could have died, but because the Tesseract and everything blew up, she absorbed all the energy, and she didn't even know how powerful she really was until she was forced to kind of use it and not hold back. And it was really interesting that she found that she had reserved energy too. So we'll see a lot more when it comes to Endgame, when she's in that.
Yeah,
and
I can't wait to see that because she just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know. So they had the pager, and they show in the last scene. They had the pager.
They were trying to figure out how it worked.
They was like, "Is it really working on that?"
I know, that was so funny. Know.
And then they turned around, and they was like,
she said, "Where's Fury?"
And they turned around, and she was like, "Yo, how the hell she get in there?" And then it cut off. But
I loved it when she said, "Where's Fury?"
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. But anyway, really good movie. I really, after thinking through it, it was a very good movie. It was a good origin movie, because at first that was the same thing I thought about Captain America. I was like, yeah, it was okay. But then when you really look at it and you look at the details within the movie, it was telling you so much what was coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to Captain Marvel was letting you know what already occurred, and then you validated a lot of things. Then you'd be like, oh, he was part of this. Oh, he was part of this. And it gave you those kind of answers, which was, I think, was pretty cool, too. I really liked the way how they did it. So, really good movie. Anyway, Fake the Black Cinema every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we try to do what we can with new movies that we see, TV series, TV movies, and Netflix has some really crazy movies that we were seeing that we'll be reviewing as well. So it really makes it really, really interesting. But other than that, what you got to do?
Nothing. I'm good.
Absolutely. So, thanks very much for stopping by Fade to Black Cinema, and catch us next Wednesday for our next movie review. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Bye.